Trust is the foundation of every strong relationship. Without trust, love becomes fragile, conversations turn suspicious, and even the smallest changes in behavior can create storms of doubt. One of the most painful experiences anyone can face in love is infidelity. When a partner chooses to betray, it does not only break hearts, it challenges a person's sense of security, self-worth, and emotional well-being. Now, it is important to say right at the beginning, there are no magical signs that can definitively prove someone has cheated. People are complex. Behaviors vary, and sometimes innocent actions may be misinterpreted. That is why we must approach this subject carefully, not with accusations, but with awareness. The purpose of this talk is not to encourage paranoia or mistrust. Instead, it is to highlight patterns of behavior that relationship experts and psychologists have observed in people who may be hiding infidelity. By understanding these patterns, you can become more emotionally intelligent, protect yourself from manipulation, and most importantly, learn how to communicate openly when something feels wrong. In this speech, I will guide you through 8 key signs that may indicate your partner is hiding something as serious as infidelity. Remember, one sign alone means little. But when several of these appear together consistently, it may be time to reflect, observe, and consider an honest conversation with your partner. Let us begin with the first and perhaps most obvious sign: secrecy. When someone is faithful, they usually have nothing to hide. But once infidelity begins, secrecy often becomes their first instinct. You may notice them suddenly protecting their phone like it is a vault. Passwords change overnight. They keep their screen tilted away when you reach or nearby. Notifications are silenced. Messages deleted quickly. Secrecy extends beyond devices. They may become vague about their schedule. Where once they shared stories freely, now answers shrink to 1 or 2 words psychologically. This secrecy comes from fear. Fear of being caught, fear of exposure. Cheating creates a double life. And maintaining to stories requires constant concealment. Of course, everyone values privacy. Having boundaries in a relationship is healthy. But when privacy turns into defensiveness, when a simple "who were you texting" is met with anger, texts when secrecy signals danger. Sign 2, unexplained changes in routine. Our daily routines say a lot about our lives. When someone cheats, they must carve out extra time for another person. That usually means their routine shifts in noticeable ways. Suddenly, they may claim to have late-night meetings, weekend work trips, or longer commutes than usual. They may start taking phone calls in another room, stepping outside at odd hours, or inventing excuses to be away from home. These small changes often pile up. You find yourself asking, why are they always busy lately? Why do plans keep shifting? Psychologists describe this as behavioral leakage, when people cannot perfectly control their actions because their double life demands too much. Over time, those leaks reveal inconsistencies. Again, not all routine changes mean cheating. Promotions, deadlines, or personal projects can also explain shifts. But when changes appear suddenly, without explanation, and are paired with other suspicious behaviors, it is worth paying attention. Sign 3, emotional distance or overcompensation. One of the clearest signs of hidden infidelity is a noticeable change in emotional connection. Some people grow distant. Conversations become shallow. The warmth in their voice fades. They stop asking about your day, stop showing curiosity, stop making you feel seen. Why? Because their emotional energy is being invested elsewhere. Others, interestingly, overcompensate. They shower you with gifts, affection, or compliments, not out of love, but out of guilt. It is as if they are trying to cover up their betrayal with exaggerated kindness. Both extremes distance and overcompensation stem from the same root: imbalance. A healthy relationship has a natural rhythm of affection, attention, and care. But when someone is hiding infidelity, that rhythm breaks. If you notice your partner swinging from cold detachment to sudden intense sweetness, it may not be random mood swings. It may be the psychology of guilt at work. Sign 4. Change in appearance. Appearance is another common giveaway. When someone enters an affair, they often feel the need to impress their new partner. They may start dressing differently, buying new clothes, or wearing cologne and perfume more often. They may suddenly join a gym, experiment with hairstyles, or take extra time before going out. At first, these changes may seem positive. After all, self-care is good. But when improvements appear suddenly, without clear reason, and especially if they coincide with secrecy or new routines, they may signal a deeper motivation psychologically. This comes from a desire to rebrand themselves for someone new. It is less about self-growth and more about external validation. Sign 5. Decline in physical intimacy. Physical intimacy is deeply connected to emotional loyalty. When someone cheats, their desire often shifts. You may notice reduced interest in sex, fewer hugs or kisses, or less enthusiasm in moments of closeness. They may give excuses like stress, fatigue, or being too busy. While these reasons can sometimes be true, a consistent pattern of withdrawal is often linked to divided attention. On the other hand, some people experience the opposite. Tinkering brings new moves, new energy, even unusual requests into the bedroom. This may be the influence of another partner. Experts emphasize it is not the frequency of intimacy that matters, but the change. If intimacy patterns suddenly shift without explanation, it can reflect outside involvement. Sign 6. Inconsistencies and small lies. Cheating creates two versions of reality. To keep them separate, the person must tell lies, and lies often slip. You may notice contradictions. One day they say they were with a friend. Another day, the story changes. Timelines do not add up. Receipts, social media tags, or simple details reveal gaps. Often, it is not the big lie that exposes infidelity, twit is the small ones. The forgotten detail, the slip of the tongue, the defensive correction. When you notice recurring inconsistencies, it is not about catching someone in a single mistake. Twitch is about recognizing a pattern of dishonesty. Sign 7. Overprotectiveness of devices. In the digital age, much of infidelity lives inside phones and computers. Messages, dating apps, emails, secret accounts can hide in plain sight. That is why one of the strongest signs is overprotectiveness. Suddenly, they never leave their phone unattended. They sleep with it under the pillow. They guard their laptop with passwords. When technology becomes a shield rather than a tool, it often suggests hidden communication. Psychologists note that digital intimacy is one of the most common behaviors in modern infidelity. Sign 8. Intuition and gut feeling. Perhaps the most underrated sign is intuition. Humans are wired to notice patterns. Changes in tone, micro expressions, and subtle shifts in behavior. You may not have evidence, but you feel something is wrong. Conversations feel different. The energy is off. Your heart senses betrayal before your mind finds proof. Of course, intuition must be balanced with reason. Sometimes fear, insecurity, or past trauma create false alarms. But when intuition aligns with several of the other signs discussed, secrecy, distance, lies T is often accurate. Trust your instincts, but confirm with communication. Infidelity is one of the hardest realities to face in love. It shakes the very foundation of trust, and often the signs are painful to observe. But remember, no single sign guarantees betrayal. Life is complex. People change, And behavior has many explanations. That is why the healthiest way forward is not suspicion, but conversation. If you notice several of these signs together, secrecy, routine changes, distance, defensiveness, lies to it may be time to sit down with your partner for an honest talk. Approach with calmness, not anger. Say what you feel, what you have noticed, and ask for openness. The truth may hurt, but clarity always heals faster than doubt. And finally, if you ever find yourself betrayed, know this: infidelity says more about the betrayer than the betrayed. It is not a reflection of your worth. Healing is possible. Trust can be rebuilt in some cases, and in others, walking away may be the path to peace. The true power lies in knowledge, self-respect, and the courage to face reality with dignity. So remember these 8 signs, not as tools for paranoia, but as guides for awareness. Use them wisely and let them lead you toward healthier, more honest relationships.